CNBC-TV18 Marquee Nights.
The conversation began with legacy of heritage, identity and enduring brands. But in this chapter of Marquee Nights, Yannick Bolloré, Chairman and CEO of Havas, looks ahead. From doubling down on India's creative and digital potential to navigating global disruption. This is Leadership in Motion. Let's continue the conversation.
Given, the impact of the US-China tensions, do you look at India as a safer bet?
It's very complex because we're on TV, so I'm sure a lot of people can watch this interview. No, I mean, I don't like to oppose a region or a country with another country, especially when you compare India and China. I know there is a big competition here between India and China, and congrats for becoming the largest country in terms of population last year. I mean, it's impressive. I think those two countries are just, what your guys have been doing those past 30, 40 years, it's just amazing. So I don't know who's going to be number one in 30 years. I know you're going to be like two giants with a great future. So I'm happy that we are investing in both.
Yannick, what do you think of Prime Minister Narendra Modi? Have you met him?
No, I didn't have the chance to meet him, and he came to Paris last July. And I know my President Macron, has a great relationship with President Modi. What you have to know is the French people, they love Indian people. So we love everything about India, starting with the people, the food, so congrats. So of course, we also have a huge admiration for your leader. I mean, what he has been achieving those past years is just amazing. At least the people I'm interacting with in the business community are very, very supportive of your Prime Minister. So that's great.
If you do meet him, what is the discussion that you want to have? I want to know that, Yannick.
Honestly, I'm the CEO of a 23,000 people company, and sometimes I have trouble to find sleep at night. I don't know. I will ask him, how does he manage the pressure of being the leader of a 1.5 billion people country? I mean, that's something that I don't know how you deal with this kind of pressure.
Good one, Yannick. But having said that, how do you future-proof, on a serious note, how do you future-proof a global agency network with, this rising nationalism, the trade wars, and so on and so forth, the geopolitical tensions?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, but in fact, it's a larger question. It's about globalization. 12 years ago, 2013, when I became CEO, I mean, the world was completely open. We had almost like zero war in the world. We are just talking about the emergence of middle class everywhere in the world. Digital was creating lots of jobs. People were very happy with everything. Even we had find a solution with Iran. I mean, it was just a world opening up. And at the time, being a CEO of a global group was just to make sure that we had like flags in every country. And we didn't think, we were going to Russia a lot, Ukraine, Middle East. I even visited Palestine with the President François Hollande like 6 years ago. So, honestly, the world was in a complete different place. Today, it's very hard to navigate globalization when you're the CEO of a global company, because you see first a lot of tensions locally, much more than 10 years before. You have internal tension in the US between Democrats and Republicans. It's very polarized. You have a lot of tension in Europe as well, even in France. You have those tensions between countries. So this just getting bigger and bigger every year. So it's hard for us because we promote globalization. I'm saying I'm the CEO of the Havas family, like we are a big global community of people united behind common values. And sometimes we have to deal with wars between different countries that are part of Havas. Like take Ukraine and Russia. Havas is as big in Russia and in Ukraine. It was not easy to deal with, same in Middle East. So these kind of things are not easy to deal with. So I'm trying to get as far as I can from political commitment, because at the end, I think we need to remain united. We are stronger together as a group. So as long as we can keep this unity and having people like loving to be together and trying not to speak about politics, I think that's the best way to do it.
So are your clients. So are so many marketers with global businesses, like trying to put in the message out there, trying to get in their communication in this increasingly politically polarized world. So what will be your advice to these global conglomerates, to your clients while doing this? How do they go about messaging?
Honestly, what I tell all of my clients, don't try to start supporting any political party because you have consumers that are on both sides, or on every side. Sometimes you have more than two sides. So let's try to be as large, to be, the world is today as it is. My feeling is that in 10, 20 years, we'll come back to a more united global world with peace. I really wish it for the world. So let's try to just stick with values behind your brands. Let's try to be meaningful as a brand, to be meaningful as a company, and try to get over it.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the India market, tell us, Yannick, how important is the India market in the next 1 decade as Havas hits 200 for Havas?
It's a key priority. Honestly, it's a key priority. I told you Havas was not big enough in India 10 years ago, for sure. We just had a small office in an apartment like in Delhi and one in Mumbai. Now we have 2,500 people. The plan is to multiply by 2 in the coming 3 years to reach the 5,000 people milestone. India is the future, and we need to be best in class in India. What strikes me in India is the abundance of talents. We have great talents. When I ask the people, how do you manage such a growth? We have more than 10% organic growth a year in this country. How do you find the right talents? It's easy to find talents. The level of education in India is very strong. And now, more than just India, we are starting to think about how India can serve other parts of the world. Because thanks to the digital revolution, you can work in India and produce work for the US, for Europe. So India will become increasingly important in the coming decade.
I have a question to ask you. Are some of the French legacy brands too, let's say, elitist to scale in emerging markets? Do you feel that?
You mean too expensive?
Or too elitist to scale in emerging markets?
It's fair to say French brands honestly manage to be successful in most part of the world. I would say in India with something which is very specific, and I think we have the same. I would say maybe in Japan. Is the importance of local brands that are very, very high, and there are not that many countries where you don't see such a success of local brands. So congrats for that. I don't know if it's elitist, but I think it's more to put on the success of and the quality of Indian brands.
Yannick, we spoke about your listing. We spoke about the geopolitical pressures, about future-proofing Havas, the plans for the agency, the significance of India market. A lot of serious talks have happened. I have more serious questions for you, but I have a lot of fun questions for you as well. So this reel was trending, by the way, and this is, this was in fact started by French content creators. So I have a few questions to ask you. First, croissant ou baguette?
For me, my wife is here. It's an easy one. It's baguette.
Baguette ou macaroon?
Still baguettes.
Baguette ou pain au chocolat?
Pain au chocolat is good, but I will stick with baguettes.
Okay, so 3 baguettes. Baguette is a winner.
But not from any bakery. You have to go to specific French bakery. If you're coming to Paris, I will give you a list.
Which one?
An old list.
Okay. If you could sum up French culture in one word, what would it be?
French culture in one word, I would say I'm hesitating between 2 words. The first one being refinement. I think French culture is a lot about refinement. But what strikes me the most about French brands is how they manage to create desire. Because when you're French, you don't have the same point of view on the brands that foreigners have towards French brands. So I would say that French brands, I don't know how they did, they are very good at creating desire from the rest of the world about our brands or craftsmanship and stuff like that. So desire, maybe. Okay,
desire. Great. Which French city do you think is the most underrated?
Which French city is the most underrated? I would say my home city is Brittany on the west of France. Best region, you have to visit Brittany next time you come to France, west parts. Very underrated, but you will find beautiful culture, beautiful landscapes.
Wonderful. One thing a French person secretly loves but hates to admit, won't ever admit, what is that?
That's an easy one. French people, they love to complain. We are always complaining. There is a famous French writer who wrote, French people are living in paradise, but they believe they are living in hell. So that's French people.
One Indian tradition you wish the French would adopt?
A lot of tradition. Maybe the namaste, I think it's very joyful and respectful.
Oh, great. Spicy food, do you love it, hate it?
I love it, but my stomach sometimes doesn't love it that much, but I love it.
Okay. What do you most admire about your India team sitting right here in the audience?
We have the best team. So, this team is just amazing. I admire their resilience, their optimism. Fantastic team.
What is one of the best lessons that you've learned from some of your Indian colleagues?
I would say the great lessons from India is patience. Patience. You know what I mean? Yeah, because you have to be patient. You have to build relationship on the long term. Yeah. But then it's paying off. 70% of our clients today have been with us with more than 10 years. The retention rate is very high. So when you manage to build such a great relationship, it's a relationship, maybe not for life, but for decades. We met with some of our esteemed clients from Group Tata, from Reckitt, from a lot of great groups. They have been with us, Hyundai, Kia, for more than 15 years for most of them. And I really thank them for their trust and their loyalty during all those years and for the years to come.
Any Avenger, Marvel, or a superhero character that comes to your mind when you think of Rana or Mohit Joshi?
It's a tough one. Rana, it's going to be an easy one. He would be Batman because he likes to operate in shadow and to fix things in shadow, and you never know that he fixed everything. And for Mohit, I'm not sure he exists, but I would say Captain India. It's like an Indian version of Captain America.
Where's your shield, Mohit? Okay. A French business leader that you admire or you look up to, and an Indian business leader that you admire and look up to.
In French business leaders, we have, the immense chance to partner with many, many business leaders. If I just have to pick one, I will pick my dad, because honestly, he's an amazing leader. What he did for the family group is just brilliant, because what we don't say is that the family group was almost bankrupt 45 years ago when he took over it, and he created one of the largest group in the world, keeping the family roots and the energy alive. So, of course, beside that, we have this close relationship. I have a huge admiration for him. If I just have to pick one, but there are many, many great business leaders. And in India as well, it's very, very hard. You have such great leaders, both in India, creating fantastic groups, but also outside India. Because I'm amazed by the number of Indian nationals that are now at the helm of the biggest US or UK conglomerate. It's just impressive. I admire maybe the resilience of the Tata Group. We had the chance during those past 10 years to meet with some of those people from Tata Group. It's honestly, I admire the resilience of this group and the longevity, and for the next generations to come. I met recently Sunil Mittal from Airtel, Bharti, great people, and I'm sure you have so many other great leaders to name.
You have been, Yannick, one of the longest serving advertising CEOs or CEOs in the advertising industry, only second to none other than Omnicom's John Wren, who has tenure longer than yours. We all know that. What is the legacy that you want to leave behind, or the impact that you want to leave behind on the advertising industry?
It's a question, honestly, which is very hard to answer, but it's a question that I often ask to myself. I've been the CEO of this group for 12 years, which is quite long and quite unusual for being the CEO of a company in France. But I think I'm even a better CEO today than what I was 12 years ago, with the experience, with the knowledge of the work, the expertise of people, of clients. I think what's important for me is to leave the group when I will retire in a better shape than what it was when I took over it. And if I try maybe to add some things around it, I would love this group to remain as it is today in terms of culture, caring for each other, being maybe smarter than the competition, keeping this challenger mindset. I would love to keep this energy. I mean, today, I would say that Havas is clearly the most attractive group in the global industry because of this culture. A lot of people, when they join Havas, I mean, they tell me, wow, it's so great. It's so much better than what I was when I was at, I mean, any other holding company. Lots of people, when they leave Havas, they call me after 6 months. Oh, finally, do you think I can come back? It was much better. So, I mean, I would say the culture, I mean, the idea is not to become the number one in terms of scale, is to be the number one in terms of performance, which means that we are the best performing group. And to keep this culture alive, this human, this tenderness, how do we care for each other? I think this will be my biggest legacy.
Yeah. In 2035, you complete 200 years of existence for Havas. What is your wish list from the agency in the next 10 years?
Crazy. Can you imagine an advertising group that would be 200 years old? I mean, Charles Havas, when he created Havas, in fact, he invented advertising. It was the first time that someone was creating ads just to try to get some more money from his newspapers. I mean, I have a huge admiration for the longevity of the group. It still carries the name of its founder. And I hope, I mean, maybe it's a bit arrogant, but I hope this group will still be alive. It will still exist, not as it is, because the world will change. Of course, let's face the reality, things will change in the coming 200 years. But I hope that me and my successor at the helm of Havas will have the courage and the vision to adapt to the future change of the industry.
What is the one thing, since you mentioned that, when it came to business leader, you really look up to your father when it comes to picking up the French business leader. What is that one thing that you've learned from your dad as a leader?
I mean, it's a great question. I would say is the way he manages a human relationship. He has been working with the same team, the same people for 40 plus years. And he's very loyal to his people, which means that in exchange, his people are very loyal to him. And I think at the end, it's not about having the best individual, the best members. I mean, the best professional in the team. Is how do you create the best collective? I mean, I have an anecdote that I want to share with you. I live in Paris, so I'm a big fan of the Paris Saint-Germain team in football, as you can imagine. And the owner of the Paris Saint-Germain is a Qatar. They are very rich, obviously, and they hired the best players from all over the world, from David Beckham to Kylian Mbappé to Neymar. I mean, we had the best players. So from a strategy how to sell jerseys, it was doing very well. But we never won the Champions League, despite we had the best players. And this year, all the great stars left. We only had a team with young people between 18 years old and 25 years old. No one knew their name at the beginning of the season. And 2 days ago, on Saturday, they played the final of the Champions League against Milan, Inter Milan, and they won 5-0. And at the end, what struck me, thank you, is the strength of the collective. It's even more important than the quality of the individual part.
More than the star personalities, the strength of the collective is important. What do you think this industry will look like in the next 10 years, Yannick?
First, I think this industry will still be alive. Now, I'm saying that because there was an article in the Wall Street Journal earlier today saying that Facebook or Meta is launching a new process that will completely replace creative agencies and media agencies. I don't think this will be the case. So I think this industry is bringing tons of values to its clients. Maybe sometime we should be paid more, but that's another story for another time. So we are bringing tons of values. We have very specific knowledge, a very good sense of navigate complexity. So I believe that the more the world will become complex, the more the media landscape will be disrupted, the best it is for us, because we can advise, we can create value. So I don't believe that we will be replaced by machines, by robots. I don't believe this is the case. So I believe this industry will still be here. In terms of consolidation, I mean, I don't know if the merger between Omnicom and Interpublic will happen, but let's say it would happen. I don't think there will be that many other movement of consolidation, because when you look at the reality, it's very distractful for them. The stock price, since they have announced the merger, I mean, the goal of the merger was just to increase the stock price, but the stock price is down like 15 or 20%. So, which means that the market is not buying those kind of play. And I don't think it will create a new kind of attractiveness for them. So I think the industry could stay as it is in numbers of players. But what I see today, which was not the case 10 years ago, it's a big discrepancy between the growth, the organic growth of the different players. When you compare Havas with, let's say, WPP or IPG, we are doing really much better. And in the past, we didn't have this difference. So maybe the market shares could change, could evolve. But at the end, I believe that this industry will still exist and it will still be dominated by 5 or 6 global players that are more or less the same.
Yeah, so it will not be run by robots. But, like, let's say a decade ago or, 15 years ago, this industry was dominated by these rock star creative folks, these star creative people coming up with these brilliant ideas. An example of that we saw in Don Draper in Mad Men, for that matter. So do we invest more in people, get in more rock star creative content talent into the industry? Or, what is the agency business doing? Are you pushing towards upping your tech stack, getting in more AI, more tech-led acquisitions, more data-driven agencies that you look forward to investing in?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we've conducted like 70 acquisitions in the past 8 years, almost 10 acquisitions a year. 90% of the acquisition we are making are around data, tech, and no AI. And last year we announced that we were acquiring the largest independent UK agency. It's called The Uncommon. They are doing brilliant work for great clients, winning Grand Prix at Cannes. It's really considered as the most creative agency in the world. And I received a lot of questions. Why are you investing in creativity? I mean, creativity, it's not what it was. It's no longer Mad Men, creative work star. Do you really need creative work star when you can do with Adobe or Midjourney some great creative on your own with all those tools? And my vision, maybe I will be proven wrong, is that creativity will become even more important in the future than what it is today. So today there is a lot of, I would say, smoke and mirrors around what AI can be doing. But at the end, you will have some AI fatigue from the consumers because all the ads will look the same. The strategy will be great, but not like brilliant. You won't be surprised. When I look at what our teams are doing in India, like Ink of Democracy for the Indian newspaper, what we are doing with Harpic, with the #1 star in India and #1 star in the world, what we are doing with Hyundai Kia. I'm sure you've seen the Namaste with the robot hand and the human hand at the airport. I mean, that's not something that a robot can come up with. So, I mean, you need to have brilliant mind behind brilliant idea that will create something that has never been done before. AI can just replicate things that have been done in the past.
So big bets should still continue to be on the brilliant minds.
Brilliant minds and people, yeah.
Yeah. And final question to you, Yannick, since we have CXOs from sectors, companies from different industries, what is it that this industry has that no other sector industry has?
I would say it's a great question. It's a fantastic industry because first you work for a wide range of clients from different sectors. I mean, you have in this room leaders in FMCGs, in AC manufacturing, in building planes, car manufacturer. I mean, I met with so many great people in this room, so different industries. We operate globally, and we are at the center of the digital revolution. Because when you think about it, how those big companies are funded, I mean, the Google of the world, the Meta of the world, is through advertising. So, I mean, you're in the future. So it's a future-proof type of industry. And I think it's great to be at the center of what's going to happen in the coming decade.
Great. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
CNBC-TV18 Marquee Nights.